This podcast is sponsored by valleygivesback.org. What will you be remembered for? Name a Valley nonprofit in your estate plan and create a legacy that tells future generations what mattered to you. Making a gift that costs nothing during your lifetime is easy and revocable if things change. With a planned gift, you have the power to impact the Valley forever without affecting your current lifestyle. Your action inspires others to make a difference in their own way. Remember the Valley. Ask your accountant, financial planner, or attorney about planned giving options. Plan now. Give later. Impact tomorrow. Learn more at valleygivesback.org.
For hundreds of years we've brought you the news. For the info we gave you the clues. Owners' profits were always sky high. Changing market now threatens our lives. Post-literation, critical reading, dumbed down nation, signs of inbreeding, TV sucking ideas from our head, public discourse just about dead. We'll ride the dinosaur, yeah, ride the dinosaur. Our readers are in.
All right, you guys ready? Now I'm nervous. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Navel Gazing, the Valley Indies podcast. My name is Eugene Driscoll. I'm a reporter with valleyindy.org. Today, for the first time in a while, I have a live in-studio guest, or guests, I guess, would be plural. And I said studio. Already I'm lying, right? This isn't exactly a studio, right, Giana? Is this what you expected?
No.
No, not at all. Yeah, sorry about that. But I am joined by Lana, Giana, and Gil Wall of Seymour, Connecticut.
Here, here.
Thank you all for coming in. This is really cool. I was looking forward to this discussion, and I apologize for, I think I delayed it probably 100 times.
Yeah, no worries.
I have two kids myself, kindergarten student and a third grader, I think. Flew, just the last month have been, my mother-in-law was visiting. It was crazy. So I apologize for taking so long to get you in here.
No worries.
But Lana, you had emailed me and you said that, I guess in 2009, you went on a family trip to where?
Well, to the North Pole. My husband and I did the North Pole. Yeah.
Why? Is that?
Because it's there.
I think the farthest north I've been is
yeah.
Worcester or whatever it's called.
I know. Well, I mean, it was an opportunity to reach 90 degrees north. So we flew into Helsinki, and we took a charter flight from Helsinki to Murmansk, Russia. And Murmansk is the port where the Russian nuclear icebreaker is. And we embarked the ship and chopped ice all the way to 90 degrees north. And on the way, we were lucky enough to have some amazing polar bear sightings. So
that would scare me to no end. I've seen those.
We were so lucky because we actually approached two polar bear that just caught a seal. And what we had found out prior was that, film crews or wildlife videographers or whatever you call it take years to capture that moment, and there we were. So it was a pretty awesome trip.
They were very interested in us also. So when we pulled up on them, we actually were able to observe them for quite some time while they were feeding, and then they became very interested in us on the ship.
Just sort of looking at you.
Yeah. It was a really cool experience.
Now, how did you two meet? How long have you married? How'd you wind up in Seymour, if I may ask?
I came up to Seymour kicking and screaming.
From where?
Well, I was living in Stamford at the time.
She was.
Downtown Stamford. So, Gil and I used to work together.
Okay.
In Greenwich, and that's how we met. And then I switched careers, but our relationship still kept going, and somehow he convinced me to move to Seymour.
We met one day because I'm the IT director, and she was the typical print, and it doesn't come out, and then hit print again, and it still doesn't come out, and then hit print again and again and again, thinking that it's going to at least come out at some point. So that's how we actually started talking a lot.
Yeah, my printer wasn't working.
IT guys, though, come on! I've never had a positive experience with an IT guy, so this must be a match made in heaven. 'Cause you guys are unruly, you're like naturally rude. And were you both like sort of
Agreed.
were you both like international travelers before this? And
I come from a family of travelers. So, and then when Gil and I started dating, I sort of introduced him to countries across the Atlantic Ocean. So,
Well, opportunities arose, so
Yeah.
of course
Yeah.
we took advantage of them.
Yeah, so we've done quite a bit of traveling, and then when Giana came, there was no stopping it. It was like, listen, kid.
now, did you find Giana when you were up at the North Pole with the polar bears?
We actually did ask Santa for a little girl, but then she came 2 years later. So
No, you did not.
Giana just angrily slammed the microphone onto the table. So, Giana, tell me a little about yourself. Is this your first time being interviewed on a podcast?
Yeah,
That's weird, right? How old are you?
I'm 8.
You're 8 years old. And where do you go to school?
Chatfield-Lopresti Elementary School in Seymour.
And that's up in Seymour.
Yeah.
So, from what I understand, from what your mom emailed me, the family went on a trip December.
November into December.
Into December. And Giana, well, before we get into the trip, let's a little more about you. What type of music do you listen to? Who's your favorite band, singer? Yeah, hold that nice. There you go.
I don't really have one.
How about a movie?
My favorite. This is hard.
I know. Yeah, right?
She's caught off guard.
Well, she doesn't really watch movies much.
not much.
Yeah,
I like the
Because
Grinch.
you're traveling. Okay, you're traveling the world. You're studying. Do you watch Survivor Man or anything like that? In the
I
Man
have no
versus-
clue what that is.
Tell him.
But
what
what-
you-
Oh no, my
tell him
favorite is
what's your
Captain
favorite show?
Underpants.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite
your
show
favorite
that you
TV
when
show
we
that
do
you
watch
love?
TV?
Shark Tank
Yes.
and Deal or No Deal.
Oh wow. Okay, so you're like the reality
Yeah.
game show person.
Yeah.
So you went up. No, wait. You didn't go to the North Pole. Where did you go for in November, December?
Antarctica.
Giana? So all right. So take me back, if you can, to the day where either mom or dad springs on you. Oh, by the way, pack up. We're going to Antarctica.
I was very surprised.
Were you like, because you know that you see those videos where like on the kids are surprised with a surprise trip to Disney World or something like that? Antarctica. Were you nervous at all, or do you remember like what it felt like, or was it because you're so used to traveling it wasn't?
I wasn't really nervous, but I was really excited. A little bit nervous, but
She had a moment of fear one night.
Why were you nervous?
because I thought the ship was gonna sink.
She did.
To me, that's a legitimate concern.
By the way, this was at 10 o'clock at night. We're pretty much sleeping. She pops up and says, "Daddy, I hope the ship doesn't sink."
Just get that right out there at the start, right? So then, like, mom and dad, why embark on this trip to Antarctica with Giana? What's the why?
Well, I mean, one of the objectives is, well, let me just say we've been really blessed that we are able to travel with her and expose her to different countries at such a young age. But the opportunity came up to go to Antarctica, and our, I guess, objective is to reach 7 continents with her before she turns 10. So Antarctica was her 6th.
Oh,
We have
wow.
to go to Australia. Blah, blah, blah.
Australia.
Australia.
Our last continent. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be a 7th. Yeah.
So tell me the continents you've been, some of the places you've been. Does any one place stand out as being really awesome?
I've been to Peru, South Africa.
What did you do in Peru?
So I went to the Amazon jungle in Peru, and we went to go visit the schools in Peru, and it was also in the Amazon
In the rainforest.
in the rainforest, and they were singing there, and they were
What was the school like? Like, how old were the kids?
they looked like they were like 7 and 6, and the school was really small.
And what do you like about going to these different places? What excites you?
Is that I get to see new places, and I hear lots of different languages, so I might learn more languages.
And is there, like, I had asked you, was there a particular trip or place that stood out? Was Peru sort of the one that stands out
Not
in your
really.
Okay,
It
tell me
was
which one.
Thailand.
Why? What was that? I had never been there. What? Explain it to me as someone who's never been there. What would I need to know to experience Thailand? And just try to hold the mic on this part.
Yeah.
Right.
Just do it up there. It's like
Yeah.
you
So
could blow out my eardrum.
Yeah. Don't. Right there.
my favorite part about Thailand is where there's like, if we were in a hotel spot, then we went to this other place on a big boat, and when we went in the sand was really warm on my feet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it felt relaxing for some reason.
That's such a nice description. When you come back, and I know I'm skipping around like crazy, but whatever, it's my podcast. When you come back to the States and you go back to school, do you tell classmates? Is there any type of, are you like the social studies girl, or if they still call it social studies? Because you've been to these places, so if it's, I read about it in a textbook, but to have somebody who actually experienced the culture and had the sand in your feet, what do you get to do show and tell?
Yeah, my teachers let me do a little bit of show and tell, but we didn't have time to put together a show and tell for Antarctica, so I really wanted to do it. We just didn't have the time.
Which is a great segue, though, because
Yeah.
let's talk. She's good. It's okay.
Okay.
Well, let's fast forward to Antarctica. So, how does one get to Antarctica? How does one plan out a trip for Antarctica? Maybe that's a mom and dad thing, or are you booking the booking agent, or you just kind of go along? Do you have any requests? Do you have like a list of demands for the cruise or anything like that, or no? Okay, you're good.
So, do you want to? Where do you start?
So we start on a plane. We go
Which city do we start in?
New York.
Well, no, in where do we meet the ship?
Argentina.
Right.
Well,
but
Ushuaia. That's a city in Argentina.
it's the southernmost city in the world. So Ushuaia is the gateway, really, to Antarctica. So that's where all of the operators start their voyages on the ships. So typically to go to Antarctica, because you're only allowed 100 people at a time at a landing, it's the best way to go down to Antarctica is to be on a small ship so that everybody lands at the same time, and there's not a lot of impact on the environment.
And is traveling to Antarctica like a bustling business down there? Are there trips regularly?
Oh, yeah. It's
is.
exploded over the last 12 years. It's absolutely exploded.
And why is that? Why do you think that is?
I think it's it depends on who the demographic is. I mean, you get those who are bucket listers, which is us, we want to get it off the bucket list. And you have those who are adventure seekers that want to camp out in Antarctica, or
Plus, it's so accessible today because there's an industry behind it. It's easy to get there.
What about, I watch too many movies. It's good you don't watch movies. What about the shady people who are high? They're getting away. They're running from something.
I like shows way better.
What'd you say? Like what?
I like shows way better.
There you go. But no, that was just a bad joke. So when you go to Antarctica, I mean, it's not like there's a Holiday Inn there. Where do you stay?
you stay on the ship.
On the ship the whole time. So there's like days. Go through that with me, because I have no idea.
So basically what we do is the group meets in Ushuaia, Argentina.
It's the hotel that we stayed at.
Oh, wow.
It's just a view that
Yeah.
looks down over the Beagle Bay.
Beagle Channel.
Beagle Channel.
And this is...
in Ushuaia.
That's
In Ushuaia. Okay, gotcha.
That's where you
in
land.
Ushuaia.
That's where you actually embark from.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay.
So it takes about, do you want to explain the Drake Passage?
Yes.
You have to cross the Drake Passage to get to Antarctica, but the timing depends on...
It's called the Drake Passage. So there's a Drake Shake and a Drake Lake. So the Drake Shake is the seas are really rough, and the Drake Lake is you could just like go
Sail
through.
Yeah.
So the Drake.
Oh wow, that's breathtaking. I'm looking at photos here as Giana's talking. Sorry.
The Drake Lake is
Smooth sailing.
and the Drake Shake is rough seas. And if you're in the Drake Shake, which we were in, it takes like 2 days, but the Drake Lake it's 1.5 days.
Yeah. So we were in the Drake Shake. I do not do well with motion sickness. So
She was super seasick.
I was
Oh, really? Okay.
really seasick. Gil had his sea legs, so he was fine.
Yeah.
And while we were crossing the Drake Passage, there's no entertainment on these expeditions. It's replaced by lectures. So there's a ton of lectures going on.
Very educational.
Yeah.
You
And
learn a
then
lot about
also-
what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Environment, history.
Yep. And so there's historians, ornithologists, geologists, penguinologists on board. And then they also had a citizen science program, which I was very eager to get Gia. Do you want to explain what the citizen science program
Yeah,
is?
so the citizen science program is where you get data for NASA and other science programs and
Scientific institutions.
yeah, scientific
so in a nutshell,
institutions like that.
so can I just explain it a little more?
Yeah.
So in order for institutions to send down scientists to Antarctica, it's very expensive to send scientists down. So the tour operators in Antarctica has a few of them, and one of them is the company that we were with, teamed up with NASA and the Scripps Institute, and they collect the data for them. So all of the passengers on board are involved in this project, and it makes Antarctica so much more relevant because now you feel like you're involved. So do you remember some of the things that you had to do for NASA?
Yeah, so we did cloud observations. So that's cloud observations is where you hold a scanner up and you face it all the way towards the clouds, and you just move it around until it goes in the way middle of the scanner. There's in the middle of the scanner there's a circle, and there's another big circle that goes into it, and that means if they connect, that means you scanned it, and then there's a few things that you need to fill out on the little scanner, and then it sends down to NASA.
What's happening is there's a satellite at that same moment looking from the atmosphere down.
Okay.
We're looking up, and it's helping NASA to get a smarter software application that can really target what we're seeing. Are the clouds actually what they see versus what we see? So it's kind of a conjunction to do that together. It was really interesting. And she ran the iPad, which helped.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. And were there any other children there? Were there other kids your age? Or
Well, no, it's normally 12 and up, but there was a 11-year-old on the ship too, and I learned how to do. He taught me how to play chess, and I
she
beat
met a
him in
friend who-
checkers, but he beat me in chess.
He's from Maine, and
He's
we
from
met them
Maine.
he was traveling with his grandparents, and his grandparents, it's a tradition in their family, when the child turns 10, they can go anywhere in the world. Well, they were pretty much...
They live in an RV.
Well, they were pretty much shocked when their grandson said, "Take me to Antarctica."
Wow.
So, but he actually has an interesting life. He actually travels the world. So he's homeschooled, and right now they're in an RV in Europe, and they're doing...
They literally live on the road for the last 4 or 5
4 or
years.
5 years.
Oh
they've
wow!
been
So
on
you're
the
keeping
road.
in contact with this
Not,
family?
we
or
haven't yet.
Yeah.
We haven't yet, but I think over the summer we definitely will reach out and
Well,
see, because we'll be in Europe. And
Well, I got his phone number, but I tried texting him and it didn't work. So
Yeah.
every message I sent failed, so I just deleted his number.
Well, hopefully he's okay.
Yeah.
In terms of Gianna, when you embark to Antarctica itself, describe what it looks like. What were the first things you remember seeing there? What's it like?
Well,
It's gotta
when
be
we
kind of cold.
yeah, so when we got to Antarctica, we were passing humongous icebergs, and they were very white.
They even had a contest so you could find the first iceberg as you're going down, because you're in waters with no ice, and then suddenly, in this case, we woke up in the morning very early,
Yeah.
and then the first iceberg was sighted.
And then how close do you come to the icebergs when you're floating through there?
Very close.
Close
Yeah.
enough. And are we talking like the size of buildings, or because I've only
some
seen
of them
pictures.
are smaller than buildings, and some of them are like so big that they're past the clouds.
And then at some point, do you actually get off and wander around there?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
So
About the landings.
yeah, so when we were doing landings, so we get off the ship and go on a Zodiac, and a Zodiac is a little rubber boat, and it fits 10 passengers, and there's groups, and one group goes first, then more groups go, and when you get on the landing, you could explore the place. You could sit down and take pictures of the penguins, and in November, that's when the penguins are nesting, so we watched the penguins keep stealing rocks from each other to make nests, and there's this bird called a skewer, and they try to eat the baby eggs.
And so what's it like to see a penguin? How close are you coming to them? Are they bigger than you think they were? I mean, I guess I've seen some in the
No.
Bronx Zoo, but no, tell me about them.
They are really small.
What are the penguin rookeries that you saw? The name the penguin rookeries.
Oh, so we saw a deli, but there was like 2 Adelis because they were really not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Because it was where all the gentoos were. So we saw a deli, gentoos, and chin straps, and chin straps are called chin straps because they have
I'm looking at a photo of one. Okay.
they have like a big black thing under their chin, and that's why they call it the chin strap penguin.
Is there anything particularly difficult about visiting Antarctica? Is it like physically exhausting? Is it tiring at the end of the day? Is it like weird being in a different environment like that at all?
Sometimes it's tiring at the end of the day because once we went on like 4 landings and we were walking around all over the place, and me and my friend Largo went all the way up this big snow hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went on a long hike, and our legs were hurting really bad.
Yeah.
And we had to walk all the way back down it without sliding, because if we slide, the penguins will might go in the tracks that were
penguin highway.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
there's a penguin highway, and they might go in those in the highway, and if we knock them, they'll peck at us, and they want us to be safe. So
We're also
and we also want the penguins to be safe.
We're also very careful when we're walking because the snow is very deep, and you can, with your foot, make a 2-3 foot hole. And we have to be careful to cover that up, because when we leave, the penguins could come along and fall in that hole and potentially not be able to get out. So that's what she's kind of referring to also.
Right.
We want to
Yeah.
make sure that we
Yeah.
leave the land like we found the land.
Because I would assume that's got to be a major concern of people everywhere. If you have now
absolutely.
tourists going down to Antarctica, the places where we haven't been before, that we don't go and just ruin everything and with take
Yes.
selfies everywhere. So,
When
go ahead.
When we do landings, you don't bring really anything with you.
Yeah, you have to wash
leave
your
nothing.
boots.
You just bring a camera, the clothes you have on,
Yeah.
and that's it.
What was did we have to wash our boots before? I forgot.
We
Yes.
do. We
Yeah,
wash
so
our boots
before you
we
get
go.
onto the landing in Antarctica, you have to. So everyone is provided with rubber boots because the landings are wet landings. So you could be landing in knee deep water. So the boots that they provide us, we have to step in the special solution to avoid cross-contamination.
Yeah.
So they're very strict. I mean, you can't bring any food or anything, it's...
And this might be a stupid question, but whose jurisdiction is all this under?
Belongs to everyone.
Yes, belongs to everyone. There's a treaty that was made.
Ayato.
Yeah. And it's shared land.
And everyone that visited with you or was on your ship, are these people from everybody from all over the planet?
Everywhere.
Everybody.
It's fantastic that way. The cultures, different cultures that you mingle with, the people you meet, all very interesting people in their own respects. It's really just amazing type of trip.
And then in terms of climate change and things like that, we read all the time about evidence of glaciers melting and things like that. Did they talk about at all, or do you see any evidence?
Not really, because it tends to be a bit of a controversial topic. However, it was sort of integrated into the citizen science program. Like one of the things that Giana did was collect water samples. Do you remember why you did that?
So we did that to see if we could find microscopic plastics.
Microplastics, yep.
And also to see if there's phytoplankton. And microscopic plastics are bad, but the phytoplankton is good because the krill eat the phytoplankton, and the phytoplankton become healthy, and then the whales come down in March to eat the krill eats the phytoplankton, and then the krill become healthy. So when the whales come down in March, when the whales eat the krill, they'll become healthy too.
And everything you just said, you learned from being in that citizen science class.
Yeah.
Did you do research of any kind before you went on the trip about where you were going from either the internet or the library or anything like that? Or do you like to experience it as it's happening?
I like it being a surprise.
And so, because I'm just amazed at how that all just stuck in your head and you just repeated that back to me. So are you a science, like what do you want to be when you grow up? I know you're only, how old did you say you are, 8?
Yeah, I'm 8.
So
I want to be an astronaut.
Okay. So it's science. Science is your thing.
Mm-hmm.
So are you a person, like, do you go to school and check out science books? Like, how do you satisfy that desire you have for science?
Well, me and my other friends, we love reading about space. And I read about... So my friend Claire, her mom came in and read a space book, and an astronaut named Mark Kelly wrote the book, and I really want to meet him.
That's awesome.
And it said some facts about astronaut Mark Kelly at the end of the book.
So, and then in terms of Antarctica, what is your favorite memory about that particular trip, or just what sticks out in your mind?
My favorite part about the whole entire trip was when we saw the penguins running around, and when there was this one landing that we were on, and it was there were lots of penguins, and there was lots of dirt in like one area. It was a big circle, and the penguins would roll around in it, and one of the penguins were fighting each other, and they were like trying to punch each other. It was
kind
so
of comical
funny
to see, because they're not really, it's not Mike Tyson or Vander
It looked like they were trying to punch each other.
That's awesome.
It was so funny.
So now, what's next now? Where is the... I mean, obviously you want to go to space, so you're signing up for Mars, Elon Musk or something like that, right?
We're trying to get friendly with Richard Branson over there.
There you go.
Get on one of these ships of his.
Yeah, or he's jet rockets, whatever he's
Jeff
doing.
Bezos.
Yeah. So where's the next trip? Do you know?
Scotland.
Yeah, so we're going to...
For my auntie's wedding. And me and my dad and my other uncle were going to go to a golf place called St. Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, wait a second. That sounds like it's Dad's trip here. Are you looking forward to playing some golf, Giana? I mean,
yeah.
So you're a golfer too. Is there anything you don't do, Giana?
I do softball and golf and dance,
nice.
hip hop.
So how do you think, I mean, this is a reporter question, and I don't expect an 8-year-old to be quite this self-reflective, but how do you think, I'll ask it anyway, how do you think this traveling, what impact does it have on you? Does it make you think about things differently, or how do you think it forms you as an 8-year-old? Chatfield-Lopresti, is that where you go?
Yeah.
In what grade?
Second.
Second grade? Wow, okay.
So, I like traveling a lot because when I go to new places, I could learn new things. And there was this one place where we went, I forget what it's called, Argentina? Yeah, when we went to Argentina, they were speaking Spanish around us, and my mom learned Spanish too, so she taught me some words, and she was showing me, like, because we went to a restaurant for dinner, and the guy didn't understand what we were saying, so then my mom typed it in, and then she showed me what to say, and I said it to him, and I learned a little bit of.
That's so cool. So you're conversing with somebody in another language. And then I guess as we wrap this up, I got to ask Mom and Dad now, what tips do you have? Now, if somebody listens to this podcast and, I want to go to Antarctica. What are some tips you have for going to a more exotic place like that as a family? Because I don't know if I could do it with my 2 kids.
No, you should.
We'd get to Belmar, New Jersey. That's as far south as we get.
Well, I see it as an education that you can't get even in a $50,000 institution, right? Unless you take your children and you immerse your child into the culture. Your child will then become appreciative of other cultures and more patient, Not everyone is going to do things like Americans. I mean, we went into the rainforest, and Giana at first couldn't understand why they don't have windows or why they're walking around, without any shoes on. And people of the rainforest live from the rainforest, food, medicine. What cool thing did you learn about the lipstick? How do they make
giant smile on her face.
They make red lipstick out of a
seed in a plant.
Plant, and they mash it.
Yeah.
And then they take it with their finger and just rub it on. And
did I have some on me that day?
Yes. Some right here on your face.
And you also learned about
like a Native American.
You also appreciated and tasted a new vegetable that you liked, right?
What's it called again?
Yucca.
Yucca. So it's
what is that?
It's not really a potato, but it looks like one. The reason why they don't grow potatoes in the rainforest is because the soil is too moist, and if there's moist soil, you can't grow potatoes.
So they grow yucca.
It's the root of a tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
you can get them here. Yucca potato chips. Yucca potato chips are pretty common, actually.
Yeah.
And every day I had yucca.
And then she fished for the piranha.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I caught one.
Yeah.
You're holding out on me here, Giana. Wait. What do you mean you fish for? What do you used to fish for? Would you stick your hand in? Like, how do you get?
No.
Okay.
They'll bite you.
Yeah, we were dipping her
They'll
in.
Bite you.
You're going in a little
Just
bit.
to attract them
Dare
to the boat.
It was very
dare.
basic. It was
It's a stick with a string and a hook.
Oh, they just
And
go
you put
right
a piece of fish on the end of it, and whoosh, they come.
So was that all right, Giana? That would make me a little nervous. Were you nervous fishing for piranha at all?
Not really.
You didn't get dizzy or anything like that? You didn't think, what if I fall in? I'm going to make you terrified to go anywhere now. So, and did you catch one?
Yeah, I caught one.
And then you yank it out? What did it look like?
Well, my dad had to help me yank it out. It was kind of fat, and it was bluish.
And then we had it for
really
dinner.
Dark blue.
And then we ate it
no,
for dinner.
I did not have it for dinner. No way. I do not.
Teeth?
Fish.
Teeth? Did it have? Could you see the teeth?
Humongous.
That's too much. That's too much for me. All right, now we're out of time, but before we go, is there anything that either Mom, Dad, or Giana wanted to add that perhaps I haven't asked you? I know this went by really fast, and it's a huge topic, and you've been all over the world. But
to follow up on your previous question, what I'd like to say is that taking G on these trips, as fortunate we are to do this, she gets to actually, as you said earlier, she gets to physically see these things and not read out of a textbook. And those are treasures that she'll own forever.
And did you do traveling as a child too, or anything like that?
Zero.
Zero. Okay.
Yeah,
Where are you from originally?
Shelton.
All right. So you're right here from the valley, and you said you had traveled, or no?
Yeah, I'm from Cape Town, so
South Africa.
Yeah,
South Africa.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So my family.
How did you wind up in the States?
The motivation was school, and I promised my mom that I would only stay for 4 years, but now it's 21 years in April, so life happened, and I am. Yeah.
And then you try to get back. I mean, that's got to be tough having. Is your mom still with us?
Yes. My parents are still alive. My family. I have one sister living in New Fairfield, actually.
Oh wow. Okay.
But my mom travels quite a bit, so she visits, and we go back and forth. Giana's been a few times to
Yeah.
and yeah.
I love going to South Africa.
Right,
There's
the beaches
penguins
is
in
beautiful,
South Africa
right?
too.
Really? Tell me about that.
So there's this.
They're called African penguins.
Yeah, and they.
Boulder Beach.
Yes, Boulder Beach, and basically all the penguins do is just jump on the rocks.
Yeah, they
around.
actually swim. It's a
They
little.
swim in the very cold water. I went in the water with. I forget his name.
Yeah, a friend of yours. Yeah.
We'll just say Bob.
Slade.
His
Yes.
name was Slade.
Okay.
And I went in the water with him, and I was cold. I just ran back out of the water and got
But
my
it's actually
towel.
quite neat. They just swim around you. They couldn't be bothered. They just
They'll walk right up to
around.
you.
Yeah,
It's-
they'll walk.
They don't
yeah.
care. That's so
They don't
awesome.
care. Yeah.
As well in Antarctica, what's really interesting is there's no natural predators to them on land, so you just become like a part of them. They'll
They
walk
don't-
right up to you. You know, you're not supposed to approach them. They made this 15-foot kind of barrier thing that they came up with. So, but if they come to you, it's okay.
And what do they
Just
they
don't
advise you?
bother them.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for answering that question.
an interesting comment on that 15-foot rule that they made. That was through actual study. What they've done is they took and they put an egg with sensors in it. And when a penguin would lose its egg because a skewer would take it, they would then kind of adopt that egg. And what they did is when they were monitoring these penguins, they were watching as how did they act when people came near them. And it turned out that this 15 feet was the perfect line. If you went past that, their heart rates went up a little bit.
Oh, no kidding.
And when you
Wow.
step back, their heart rate went back to normal. So that's actually where that number came from.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Lana, Giana, and Gil Wall of Seymour, I want to thank you so much for coming down here
thank
and
you.
Thank you.
enlightening
Thank you.
me. This is a very different topic for the Valley Indie Podcast, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you
you
so
very
much for
much.
having
Yeah.
us.
For hundreds of years we've brought you the news. Printed the info, we gave you the clues. Owners' profits were always sky high. Changing market now threatens our lives. Post-literation, critical reading, dumbed down nation, signs have been breeding. TV sucking ideas from our head. Public discourse just about dead. Well, ride the dinosaur. Yeah, ride the dinosaur. Our readers are in the opens each day. Yeah.